So this morning we have tried to focus on the works which have been done over these last 50 years, this via our contributions. Then we also focused on the overall financial markets with a focus, of course, on today and on what may happen in the near future. So in these final conclusive minutes, the question that we asked ourselves is what can all of this mean for the future of Prometeia? Well, first of all, let me say that we still have the ambition of being protagonists. So we want to play a role. We want to play a major and a significant role. Of course, we know what's going on now around us, but we have many people supporting us, people who have learned from past experiences. We have had to, of course, change with a changing scenario. We gained reputation, the brand is of value, and the key factors are specialization and entrepreneurship. Of course, we have mentioned more than once that we are open to change. This is part of our story, otherwise we would not be here today. So without going through all the instabilities of the 70s, 80s, or the recent pandemic, each of these stages, each of these changes has brought with it new challenges, but also new possibilities. And Prometeia has always been able to seize them and to turn difficulties into opportunities, always alongside our stakeholders. The structure of the original design is still valid today. We have always been committed to understanding the context in all of its major components and in the revolutions. We have focused on this also today. And the essential strength is the vision of the problems, which derives from our ability to integrate the analysis of the macroeconomic, the institutional, the technological, the demographic context with other aspects, such as the territorial and sectoral aspects, and to see the spillovers, to see the implications on the decision-making choices of the different economic operators. The outcomes have been mixed, of course. We have not always been right, but we have always tried to learn from mistakes. This has always been at the basis of our work. And after all, if we think that we have 50 years experience, well, this is indeed a privilege if we can exploit it. And the proof of the positive aspect of this way forward is shown by you here in this hall. We have large and small financial institutions. We have industrial enterprises, trade associations. We have institutional investors. We have financial market participants. We have various institutions, and I hope that I have not forgotten anyone. The second is that our name supports us. Let me tell you something about our name. Prometheus, you know who he was. He stole fire from the gods to give it to humans in order to enable them to advance and to allow the growth of human society. So Prometheus was a visionary in his effort to improve human society. But his experience also teaches us that every decision taken always involves risks, and there's a price to pay. There's a risk to mitigate. I like to mention these aspects, especially in these times when every day we have incredible technologies being promoted, but we have to assess them with great care. In addition, next to Prometheus, there are some family traits that we should consider. Let's consider Prometheus' brother, Epimetheus, who instead of understanding things on the spot, he understood things only after they happened, without thinking beforehand. He was always late in understanding, so he did not understand much. Evidence of this was that he married Pandora, who, as is well known, carries with her as a wedding gift the box that once opened spreads all sickness and misfortune throughout the universe. Why am I saying this? Because in our activity, in an activity in which we have vision and in which we have been innovative, we still have to be very careful so that Prometheus does not get influenced by Epimetheus or by his sister-in-law. Although several times in the reality of things, these are two aspects in reality of the same character. And it is precisely in the most turbulent of times that we have tried to sharpen our skills of analysis and of future development. This has already been mentioned, and I want to repeat this. We have always invested in people, and we continue to do this today, because training is and remains one of the fundamental pillars of Prometeia. We believe that the growth of people is the basis for the growth of the organization, and that knowledge, before it can be transferred and shared, so this knowledge must be firmly acquired with a clear understanding that our only capital is human capital, and that in dynamic terms it is a capital if it has learned to learn and to innovate continuously. This is why we build some pathways that focus on skill development, that promote continuous learning, and that help our people interpret change and lead change. In the current context, the need and the urgency of learning becomes even more binding on individuals and on the organization in which we operate. Consider that almost 50 years of activity, Prometeia has grown a lot, and the number of people who have contributed to it over time was well over 2,500. Then many, of course, then went to work elsewhere in Italian and international institutions, in banks and companies, in research centers. Today we have around 1,300 people on board. About 40% of these have specialized skills on the economic and market phenomena. 30% have skills in data processing and model building, so econometricians and data scientists. And the remaining 30% have skills in the topics of technology architectures, cloud computing, and application solutions. These are skills that come from different academic degrees, and now we have more than 25 nationalities within our group. Now, it is this diversity that fuels curiosity and which has enabled us to continuously innovate. And of course, we count on being able to continue to do so together with practitioners and regulators, and we count on doing this also in the future. So today, Prometeia has its own specific professional and cultural identity, and this is what will take us into the future. Of course, we have a lot of history behind us. We have a lot of experience within the group that results from the fact that we have had to cope and solve many changes experienced during periods of corporate and personal life and made up of successes, but also by many scars. So this way of operating, it must be reaffirmed in the concreteness of the daily decisions that we take. It is not enough to enunciate values or guidelines. These behaviors are not bought all of a sudden and once and for all. They are a culture to be fostered, taking into account also the new resources that are brought into the work each year. So this is a commitment to continuous training. So with this heritage, we look forward with courage and ambition, and I might address myself in particular to my Prometeia colleagues who are here present or connected. So don't just listen. Commit to being agents of change. Let your choices be a reflection of your hopes and not of your fears. You have worked very hard to get to where we are today. And we must, and you must be proud of these achievements. The context of change in which we live, which will have major consequences for everyone, requires of us, more than in the past, a commitment to excellence that must be tenacious and relentless. A commitment that we cannot withdraw from. Our commitment must be a mirror of the existing change. Each of us, in a role-independent way, must feel empowered to imagine new solutions, authorized to question the existing, to explore unexplored possibilities. Prometeia is a project of people united by the same principles, which has no predetermined end, because it regenerates with each new contribution, with each new insight, and with each new generation that joins it. So this entrepreneurial spirit must be a driving force behind our success. And it is with this spirit, the spirit of Prometeia, that we look to the future with a sense of responsibility, with confidence, with the knowledge that change is our natural condition, and that in every phase of uncertainty lies the possibility of doing something extraordinary. Thanks to all of you for your attention.